gets back to seeking God's heart, seeking his face. What is it that he will have you to do in this season? You don't have to do everything at one time. Maybe this is a season for rest. Or maybe this is a season for, international impact, but it might also be a season for impact in the home. And we can't despise either. And I think that's where we get it confused. If it's almost like we want to be doing anything other than what we're doing in the moment.
Yeah.
If it's a busy season, we want to be at rest. If we're resting, we want to be busy. And so we have to learn contentment. It's a verse that we read all the time. I'm going to read it verbatim. Verse 5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. When I read that at first, I realized that a lot of times we think of purpose as, starting in the womb, right? Like we say, in order to fight for the sanctity of life, we have to protect the babies in the womb. But if you think about what God is saying, he's saying, before I formed you in the womb. So before conception even happened, there was already purpose. Like God decided that you were necessary for creation. And I think where we struggle is because we don't know our purpose. We just assume we have none, which is why we have to seek the Father's heart, because he was the one who decided that we were necessary. And so the question is not, what does my family think I should do? What does my employer think I should do? How valuable do my followers on social media think I am? What do they think I should do? The question is, what is it that God thinks I should do? And we have to be willing. We've been talking about this idea of surrender and discernment and trusting the will of God. We have to be willing to seek his heart because he's the only one that has the right answer. There are people who have opinions, and that's great. But I think the reason why many of us struggle with insecurity and inadequacy is because people have spoken things over our lives that don't align with why God created us.
Right.
I remember when I was younger, I had people tell me that I shouldn't talk. They've said, well, when you talk, you're not making a lot of sense. Well, now I'm a preacher. So who would have thought if I would have listened to them, right? I wouldn't have done that. My husband, he was told for many years that he wasn't a leader type. Well, now he's a pastor. And so it just goes to show that when you listen to the voices of people who only have limited knowledge, they can't speak into your purpose because they don't know. They don't know. So we have to seek the Father's heart. And I think about you, Sheila. I'm like, I as you were telling that story, I was visualizing you in that corner with, your head on your knees and questioning, God, like, what am I here for? Like, what am I supposed to do? But you sought his face. You sought his heart instead of going to other people and saying, well, what do you think the problem is? And I think we have to train ourselves to do that and really seek his heart in all situations.
Nona, I was smiling at what you said because in primary school and high school, more primary school, I guess, which in Scotland is from 5 to 12, I was belted, with a leather belt in every single class for talking too much.
Oh my God.
And now it's the very thing that God uses so often, It's like one of the things I love about the Lord is how he redirects, our passions and our calling. And I think one of the things that for me is more important than anything else, and I know, Laurie, this is why you do better together. This is the whole kernel of everything that is in your calling to do this, is that every single woman out there who's watching, or man, would know that they are loved, that they are seen,
Yes.
that they are known. And one of the things I'm glad about, it seemed like for a long time, we were very personality driven in the evangelical church. This person had the hottest book and this person had the biggest. And now it feels to me like we're all marching together all the way home, boots on the ground for Jesus, which means that, no matter what your job is. I was stopped the other day in the mall by a woman and she said, I know who you are. I saw you on television and I really want to be used by God. So can you help me get into full-time ministry? And I said, well, what do you do at the moment? And she said, well, I've got 3 little ones under the age of 7. And I was like, And there you go.
There you go. Welcome to ministry.
You know, to me, it's like, it's 24/7. If you love Jesus, if you've been called into ministry, wherever you are, minister. I was interviewing somebody the other day who was about to head for the mission field. And at the last moment, they were involved in this devastating car crash. And they were in hospital for 9 months recovering. And it's impacted everything about their life. And I remember she said to me, I said to my husband, now, where is my mission field? And he said, at the end of your fingertips. Whatever you touch, whoever you touch, that is your mission field. And I love that for every single one of us. We all get to throw ourselves all in until it's all over.
You know, you just jogged my memory, a story just really quickly. So there was a season of life. I've always been one of those people that was doing like 24 things at once. Like I didn't serve on, one board. I was on 10. I didn't, I wasn't writing one book. I was writing 6. Like it's just, I've always been one of those people. But there was a season I was in once where, I was in ministry and I was doing work and all these things. And I'll never forget my son. I think he was maybe in first grade, and his teacher reached out to me. And she said, hey, can we meet? I want to, talk about his behavior in class. And I was just like, oh God, here we go. Okay. And so, we have the meeting, and I'm thinking, he's growing up. He's just kind of exploring boundaries. And she said to me, Miss Jones, I just want to tell you, your son misses you. And he's acting out because he says you're not home. And I was like, what? You talk about like dagger in the heart. I was like, oh my God. But I realized in that moment, I was like, wait, God is actually calling me during this season to really take a step back, because what I had done, and I realize this now, is I was living my life the same way I had lived before children, after children, and that wasn't working. But I didn't realize it until God brought that to my attention. And that's why I think it's important to not think that, ministry has to be this big, grandiose thing. Sometimes ministry is just one-to-one. It's what season are you in? And again, that gets back to seeking God's heart, seeking his face. What is it that he will have you to do in this season? You don't have to do everything at one time. Maybe this is a season for rest. Or maybe this is a season for, international impact, but it might also be a season for impact in the home. And we can't despise either. And I think that's where we get it confused. If it's almost like we want to be doing anything other than what we're doing in the moment.
Yeah.
If it's a busy season, we want to be at rest. If we're resting, we want to be busy. And so we have to learn contentment.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe today and you'll never miss a new upload.
And don't forget to check out our Better Together shop. Thanks for being a part of our community.